Welcome to day 94. Today we're going to be talking about Judges chapters 9 or 11 to 15. Now we left off with Jephthah, so we'll continue with that. Jephthah's vow and victory. Then the Spirit of the Lord came upon Jephthah. Jephthah is one of the judges. Jephthah made a vow to the Lord and said, "If you will indeed deliver the people of Ammon into my hands, then it will be that whatever comes out of the doors of my house to meet me, when I return in peace from the people of Ammon, shall surely be the Lord's, and I will offer it up as a burnt offering." So let's keep in mind, God is not asking him to do that. It was his own idea, and that's very crucial that we make the difference about that we recognize that because it's not God's will. And he defeated them, the enemies from Aroer. Thus, the people of Ammon were subdued before the children of Israel. And now here's the tragic story: Jephthah's daughter. It didn't mention the name of the daughter, but it's something that Israel commemorates. When Jephthah came to his house at Mizpah, there was his daughter coming out to meet him with timbrels and dancing, and she was his only child. Besides her, he had neither son nor daughter. And it came to pass when he saw her that he tore his clothes and said, "Alas, my daughter, you have brought me very low. You are among those who trouble me, for I have given my word to the Lord, and I cannot go back on it." Again, it's not, God didn't ask him for that, it was his idea. Verse 36. So she said to him, "My father, if you have given your word to the Lord, do to me according to what has gone out of your mouth, because the Lord has avenged you of your enemies, the people of Ammon." Then she said to her father, "Let this thing be done for me. Let me alone for 2 months, that I may go and wander on the mountains and bewail my virginity, my friends and I." So he said, "Go." And he sent her away for 2 months, and she went with her friends and bewailed her virginity on the mountains. And it was so at the end of the 2 months that she returned to her father, and he carried out his vow with her, which he had vowed. She knew no man. And it became a custom in Israel that the daughters of Israel went 4 days each year to lament the daughter of Jephthah the Gileadite. Jephthah sacrifices his daughter. Some believe that because the Bible rated that incident, it was somehow condoning it, and that the action pleased God. However, God clearly condemns this detestable pagan practice as an abomination. See Jeremiah 7, verse 31, chapter 32, verse 35. The scriptures are given to us for our instruction. We can learn life lessons from all the stupid things that men and women did in the Bible. Noah became drunk and shamed himself. Saul became jealous and destroyed his life. Judas was a hypocrite and ended up killing himself. Peter slept when he should have been in prayer and denied his Lord. David let lust into his heart and committed adultery and murder. These incidents were written for our admonition, and we can either humbly learn from them or probably walk down the same tragic path. Again, we can either learn from them or probably walk down the same tragic path. The choice is ours. Chapter 12 talks about Jephthah's conflict with Ephraim. What I understand here, it's weird. The Ephraim were angry because they didn't go to war with Jephthah. Is what I understand. And the men of Gilead, which is Jephthah's team, Jephthah's side, they defeated the Ephraim because they said, "You Gileadites are fugitives of Ephraim among the Ephraimites and among the Manassites." Looks like here, even within Israel, they're all Israelites and they're fighting against each other. And so the Gileadites seized the fords of Jordan before the Ephraimites arrived. So um, Jephthah's men are killing the Ephraimites. And when any Ephraimites who escaped said, "Let me cross over," the men of Gilead would say to him, "Are you an Ephraimite?" If he said no, then they should say to him, then say, "Shibboleth, Shibboleth." And he would say, "Siboleth," for he could not pronounce it right. That's so strange. Then they would take him and kill him at the fords of the Jordan. There fell at that time 42,000 Ephraimites. There's a lot of strange stories in the Old Testament, and I think this is including them. You know, very rash in their decisions. 42,000 could have been saved if they if they were at peace with each other. And Jephthah judged Israel 6 years. Next, talked about Ibzan, Elon, and Abdon, those judges. Chapter 13 talks about probably the most popular judge among the book of Judges. It's the birth of Samson. Again, children of Israel did evil in the sight of the Lord, as usual, and the Lord delivered them into the hand of the Philistine for 40 years. Now, therefore, Please be careful. And they were being instructed about Samson. And verse 4, please be careful not to drink wine or similar drink, and not to eat anything unclean. For behold, you shall conceive and bear a son. This one talking to the parents of Samson. And no razor shall come upon his head, for the child shall be a Nazarite to God from the womb, and he shall begin to deliver Israel out of the hand of the Philistines. The angel of the Lord was talking to Manoah's wife. Manoah is the parent. Manoah is the dad, father of Samson. And then Manoah insisted that he wants to hear from the angel himself. In verse 12, what will be the boy's rule of life and his work? So the angel of the Lord said to Manoah, of all that I said to the woman, let her be careful. She may not eat anything that comes from the vine, nor may she drink wine or similar drink, nor eat anything unclean. All that I commanded, let her observe. Then Manoah said to the angel of the Lord, please let us detain you, and we will prepare a young goat for you. Capital letter Y, Y-O-U. And the angel of the Lord said to Manoah, though you detain me, I will not eat your food. But if you offer a burnt offering, you must offer it to the Lord. For Manoah did not know he was the angel of the Lord. Verse 17. Then Manoah said to the angel of the Lord, what is your name, that when your words come to pass, we may honor you? And the angel of the Lord said to him, why do you ask my name, seeing it is wonderful? There they offered their offerings, and as the flame went up toward heaven from the altar, the angel of the Lord ascended in the flame of the altar. And then that's when they knew that he was the angel of the Lord. Verse 24, so the woman bore a son and called his name Samson, and the child grew, and the Lord blessed him. And the Spirit of the Lord began to move upon him. Chapter 14 talks about Samson's Philistine wife. Now, Philistine, they are the enemies of Israel at that time. And Samson, whenever I read Samson's words here, I can't help but read it in a Neanderthal voice because he's very strong, but he wasn't so smart, I guess. He did not have his appetite under his control. So he said, I've seen a woman in Timnah of the daughters of the Philistines. Now, therefore, get her for me as a wife. That's kind of how he sounds to me. Get her for me, for she pleases me well. The parents, of course, were against that because they're enemies. But his father and mother did not know that it was of the Lord, that he was seeking an occasion to move against the Philistines, for at that time the Philistines had dominion over Israel. Now, there's the story of a lion coming roaring against Samson, and the Spirit of the Lord came mightily upon him. And he tore the lion apart as one would have torn apart a young goat. Wow. Later on, when he returned to get her, he turned aside to the carcass of the lion, and behold, a swarm of bees and honey were in the carcass of the lion. He took some of it in his hands and went along eating. Now this is defiling. This is dirty. This is unclean in the eyes of the Lord. Verse 10, and Samson gave a feast as they normally would, and he posed a riddle. He said, let me pose a riddle to you if you can correctly solve and explain. And then he told them the riddle, which the answer is what he did earlier with the lion and honey coming from that. So he said to them, out of the eater came something to eat, and out of the strong came something sweet. But the Philistines didn't know the answer, so they told the Philistine wife to entice the husband. And the wife said, you only hate me, you do not love me, you have posed a riddle to the sons of my people, but you have not explained it to me. And Samson said, look, I have not explained it to my father or my mother. But the woman wept on him the 7 days while they were in feast. So a long time, 7 days. And finally, Samson explained it. So the people of Philistines knew the answer. They said, what is sweeter than honey? And what is stronger than a lion? So Samson gave in. The Philistines were able to answer the riddle. And Samson said here, if you had not plowed with my heifer, you would not have solved my riddle. Heifer, I believe he called his wife heifer, female cow. I don't know if it's a normal thing at that time. Verse 19, then the Spirit of the Lord came upon him mightily, and he went down to Ashkelon and killed 30 of their men, took their apparel, and gave the changes of clothing to those who had explained the riddle. So his anger was aroused, and he went back up to his father's house. And Samson's wife was given to his companion, who had been his best man. Chapter 15 now talks about Samson defeating the Philistines. After a while, in the time of wheat harvest, it happened that Samson visited his wife with a young goat. And he said, let me go into my wife, into her room. But her father would not permit him to go in. Her father said, I really thought that you thoroughly hated her. Therefore I gave her to your companion. Is not her younger sister better than she? Please take her instead. And Samson said to them, This time I shall be blameless regarding the Philistines if I harm them. Then Samson went and caught 300 foxes. So rash. No, he's acting like a kid. He's very strong, but his movements, it's. And he took torches, turned the fox's tail to tail, and put a torch between each pair of tails. When he had set the torches on fire, he let the foxes go into the standing grain of the Philistines, and burned up both the shocks and the standing grain, as well as the vineyards and olive groves. Then the Philistines said, Who has done this? And they said, Samson. And Samson's taking his revenge. Now the Philistines went up, and the men of Judah said, Why have you come up against us? So they answered, We have come up to arrest Samson, to do him as he has done to us. Then 3,000 men of Judah went down to the cleft of the rock of Etam and said to Samson, Do you not know that the Philistines rule over us? What is this you have done to us? And he said to them, As they did to me, so I have done to them. But they said to him, We have come down to arrest you, that we may deliver you into the hand of the Philistines. Then Samson said to them, Swear to me that you will not kill me yourselves. So they spoke to him, saying, No, but we will tie you securely and deliver you into their hand. But we will surely not kill you. And they bound him up with two new ropes and brought him up from the rock. When it came to Lehi, the Philistines came shouting against him. Then the Spirit of the Lord came mightily upon him, and the ropes that were on his arms became like flax that is burned with fire, and his bonds broke loose from his hands. He found a fresh jawbone of a donkey, reached out his hand and took it, and killed 1,000 men with it. Then Samson said, With a jawbone of a donkey, heaps upon heaps, with a jawbone of a donkey, I have slain 1,000 men. 1,000 men, wow. Again, the jawbone of the donkey, that's not a weapon again. Kind of like with Shamgar with an ox goad. Um, Another story of supernatural events here with God being with him. Crazy stuff in the Old Testament. Verse 18, Then he became very thirsty, so he cried out to the Lord and said, You have given this great deliverance by the hand of your servant, and now shall I die of thirst and fall into the hand of the uncircumcised? So God split the hollow place that is in Lehi, and water came out. This is not the first time that water came out of nowhere. Even in 40 years, the Israelites in the wilderness, God provided for them. And he revived, and he judged Israel 20 years. So my takeaway is that, as mentioned earlier, that the Bible is written for us, for our admonition, for our learning, because we don't have the full, if we can only live 80 years, we don't have enough years to learn every lesson. But if we can learn from other people's life, that would be beneficial. Not even on the Bible, even if you watch movies, when you learn from that, that's how we gain wisdom. But to me, the fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom. So yeah, that's my takeaway for today. Thank you so much for your time. I appreciate you. I'm hoping that you would seek God daily through Bible reading and prayer. And please take very good care of yourself. Bye bye.